What's up, Cowboys fans? Pete Elliott here, letting you know my memorabilia collection is available on Fanatics.com. Check it out.
It's game day, baby.
Game day.
It's time to tap in, y'all. Hope everybody got their church clothes on. You know, we're going to church tonight.
Oh, yeah. What is up, cannabis community? What is up, Cowboys world?
That's right, baby. We streaming live in the lab. It's your boy Bob and BG. We are live here with the keys. Not only just the regular keys. Let's talk about some prime keys today in case you haven't been keeping up with the news and prime news as we go into this prime time game tonight on NBC, y'all.
Oh, NBC.
How's the weather down there in Denver, Bob?
It has been maintaining a roughly 30 to 40 degree temperature for about a week now. Ever since the snow drop, we had a real big dump. It's kept the cold around a little bit. Snow's melting right now, but it's feeling good, man. I woke up 2 days ago, it was 9 degrees, but I swear it ain't as cold as people think it is, man.
Well, I mean, we gotten some snow up here. It's been snowing here today. And shout out to everybody watching on all 4 platforms. We're live on Facebook. That's right. Only on Built Different Group today. So we shouldn't have any Facebook users. If we do, we should be able to jump on them and make sure they register with StreamYard. We're also live on LinkedIn, YouTube, and on Twitter. You know, that new platform over there that Elon Musk has bought up and is causing a big stir. Are you on Twitter, Bob?
You know, I have B Riley 88. I have an account, but I don't really mess with it. I'm telling you, as far as you know, after I've been trying to push the Cannabis Cowboy thing, I've been staying real hardcore on IG and Facebook, but I don't really mess with Twitter too much.
I'm same here. But I know how to make sure StreamYard is hooked up to my Twitter. So we streaming live there. So if you're watching us on the Twitter sphere, shout out to you. Shout out to everybody. We see Jose over there on YouTube. Appreciate you tapping in with us here on the pregame show. We're going to talk about the keys to victory today. That's right. The Dallas Cowboys have the Indianapolis Colts coming in today. And, you know, we're going to have to take a look at the numbers, baby, especially when it comes to the Dallas Cowboys, because my keys ain't really changed, even though they're prime keys.
Yeah, we just got to keep poking around with them numbers, see what those numbers equal. That's how it goes. We got a lot of people coming in here today. We got a lot of the usual suspects, too. Wow, look at this. B Red, Sarah, everybody's here.
King Sharon in the building.
King Sharon's in the house.
Got them green badges. You know the deal. If you're a green badge supporter of the content here on the Built Different Group page, I need you to share this video, help this audience grow as we talk about the keys to victory today as the Dallas Cowboys are hosting the Indianapolis Colts. Does everybody remember what happened last year when we played the Colts? I don't mean to bring up no bad news.
I was just gonna say, man.
I'm just saying we don't know where we're going unless we know where we've been at, right?
That's the truth. How you knowing where you're going if you don't look back? That's a good point, BG. You're 100% right on that, dude. It's the truth. We should look back, although we might not. It's always about whether the teams are the same as they are. And usually it doesn't work that way. But let's not forget, they're an NFL team. Everybody gets paid millions of dollars. They don't want to look stupid on national television. Nobody sits down in the NFL. It doesn't work that way. They got a badass running back, and they got a badass wide receiver. Everything else is suspect on the Colts.
Yeah, we're going to take a look at the Colts in a snapshot. You know, I'm on Stat Muse here, so shout out to Caitlin tapping in with the context. You know, Caitlin says the Colts stand for count on losing this Sunday.
I don't know if I've ever heard that before.
I love the witty wordplay, especially on Sunday. She says Dallas has to handle business tonight. No trap game vibes. Contain Jonathan Taylor. Thank you. That's a great segue into the first key of the game. Y'all know is, can we hold a third straight team in a row under 100 yards rushing? As we take a look at the Indianapolis Colts, they are almost averaging a C note. They're 99.7 yards rushing per game. That's about all they've got. If you look at their points per game, they're not averaging many points per game. Don't expect this offense to do too much, especially if the Dallas Cowboys can contain the run. They're letting the opponents, however, score 20 points. And if you've been paying attention to this Dallas Cowboy offense, you know it's absolutely been on fire since the daddy of the NFC East came back.
Papa Dak. Not Papa Doc. Papa Dak. You got to beat Papa Dak in the freestyle to win, man. It's tough to do.
You know, I watched the Titans and the Eagles game today, and I actually played against Jalen Hurts in fantasy football. And I just want to say that Hurts ain't that good. That's about my sentiments right about now. As y'all see, Hurts put up, I don't know, about 3 touchdowns on me today in fantasy football. That's okay, Philadelphia. Keep handling your business in the NFC East. We're going to see y'all on Christmas Eve. Meanwhile, in the NFC East, did y'all see the Giants and the Commanders game?
Oh, man. Man, you couldn't even, how do you know? Just tell everybody you're the sons of the NFC East without telling everybody you're the sons of the NFC East is how that game was today.
Yep, appreciate everybody tapping in. Let's give some shout outs. Y'all know all the usual suspects. What up, Prototype? I see is hey, all the green badges checking in. Nicole, how we doing? Appreciate that. Y'all know what to do. Put a share on your timeline. We are in the gym here today. It is the pregame show. I need them reps. Get that share on there. Help this audience grow. But will the Dallas Cowboys contain the Indianapolis Colts to 100 rushing yards or below with this explosive backfield with Jonathan Taylor? I think we can do it.
Yeah, my approach lately meaning the last 40 years, my approach is to never feel too confident going into the game. I have to psych myself into reminding myself that this is an NFL game. Anybody can win it. Do we have a better chance of beating the Colts today than we did last year? 100%. It's still an NFL team, though. So what we need to do is make sure that we take that running game and slow it down, like you said. If we slow down that running game, I simply do not see them having a big enough passing game for us to worry about shit. Not to mention, I'm not 100% how many throws this quarterback is going to get today with this defense. The defense is pissed off and hungry. I know this.
Yeah, I expect this game to be over in the first half. However, any given Sunday, y'all know the refs. Anybody could get it on any given Sunday, as William Willis taps in here and gives some context. He says all teams play the Cowboys hard. The Colts will play hard today, too. Y'all know every time somebody play the Cowboys, it's their Super Bowl.
Yeah, William Willis and the rest of the world understands that not only are you playing a very, very strong team in the Dallas Cowboys, you are also riding the ratings wave. So players are a little bit more sound. They're a little bit more intelligent with the way they do things. They don't necessarily lose their head on national primetime games against the Cowboys. You'll find a lot of teams, sometimes other than the Cowboys, are more disciplined on a Sunday night game or a Monday night game in the spotlight.
Well, I know one thing. I know the coach of the Indianapolis Colts was just recently on an Alphabet Network, and he said that the Bucks were going to go all the way. And now this guy happens to be a coach on the sideline. And if you don't know who I'm talking about just Saturday, even though we're on Sunday. I mean, Mike McCarthy and this Dallas Cowboys, we got to put this Saturday Colts team away in the first half. It can't be get down to the close wire. Y'all know how it goes, because my second key to the victory is always going to be that discipline. As we see our green badges tapping in here today, Tanya has hit the nail right on the head. Play the referees as an opponent. You know, we can't get into these close games, especially with no team that's 4-7 and 1 or something like that, right? They got a tie too.
Yeah.
No, that's us. 8-3. I'm sorry. Talking about the Colts.
Yeah, they got a tie.
My goodness.
Yeah, and here's something else. And let's not lie to ourselves. There's a lot of times where the Dallas Cowboys will come into a game and they will play down. It is something that our team has done a lot, and it's either that or our offensive coordinator gets a little bit out of his game plan that he laid down, and we just see something different at the end. What needs to happen today is not playing down to our opponent, even though they are a worse team than ours. They're still an NFL team. If we go in there and kick ass like we're supposed to, it'll make a bigger statement. It'll make me feel a little bit better, because the difference between us and the Eagles, in my eyes, is that the Eagles are finding ways to win games and beat out teams that are much worse than they are. And we need to find a way to do the same. More importantly, just beat their ass.
I hear you as King Sharon taps in. We're talking about that discipline. We're talking about them penalties. You're right. Going into game, great segue as you talk about this discipline. We go back to last game. Halftime of last game, we had 7 total penalties. We finished the game with 13 penalties. The Dallas Cowboys averaged 7.8 penalties per game in the league last year as a league leader. So, I'm going to definitely be looking at the penalty column here today. Great call out there, King Sharon, as we talk about the second key to the game. The Dallas Cowboys, if we can hold this Indianapolis Colts rushing team under 100 yards, and we can also squash them out in the first half and not leave room for the referees to make these calls like y'all seen, our Lion, Micah Parsons got fined $11,000 with no video proof. They fined all 4 tight ends of the Dallas Cowboys for the game of whack-a-mole. They played in the tight ends played there at the Red Kettle Salvation Army, Red Kettle there at the end zone. So, the league and the Zebras is going to have it out for us. We got to do our job, and we got to finish them out early in that first half.
I agree. And I want to ask everybody in comments right now, please tell me, and don't side with me on it. Honestly, tell me the last time you saw a football game where somebody got a 15-yard penalty and absolutely no video proof was evident for anybody else to check out at all. I remember saying to myself, why is he pissed? Why is Micah pissed off? And then I heard 15-yard penalty. Then I hear the next day he punched somebody in the jaw, and I'm like, I want to see it. Where is it? Somebody's got to have cell phone footage or something of it. I haven't seen anything about it.
Yeah, some guy named Nick over there on the Giants was light snitching. I talked about that here. You can scroll back and check it out in full detail. I talk about, I think it's pretty shitty that the league is taking food off of Micah's and Malcolm's plate this holiday season without no video proof, let alone finding our tight ends for playing a game of whack-a-mole, which we know the Salvation Army is probably going to benefit the most out of that. Don't they always? I had asked that going into that game who was going to jump into that Salvation Army Red Kettle, much like Zeke did years ago. And, the league is the no fun league, as we see clearly, judge, jury, and executioner coming out with that, no video proof, fining folks and things of the matter. So we cannot leave any room, for little things like that to creep in, especially when it comes to the referees and when it comes to Vegas. We talked about that too. Remember in that New York Giants game, after that play called on Micah Parsons, which there was no video proof, 4 plays later, the New York Giants scored. Now, remind you that the Vegas spread was 10.5 points that game, and by New York scoring on that play, that just messed up everybody's parlay.
Look, so man, it's hard.
You got the Vegas, and you got the injury bug. So those are 3 opponents. But I feel your pain, Bob.
No, what you just said, man, that's like on some Bob Lazar Netflix. That's some crazy shit right there. That sounds like the biggest conspiracy in the world, and it's all true. Not that it's a conspiracy, but all that shit happened, and that's what's. I didn't even think about that. The whole betting part of that situation. They're like, 15 yards. And I don't know. I don't know anybody that was at the game, so I don't know what they saw.
Remember, there was some time that elapsed during that play, and we were looking for the video. And I remember you even asked me on the show, and I said, I don't know. I didn't see it, but I remember seeing parts of it afterward. But you got to raise the question. If that's the fix and it's in, the Dallas Cowboys have got to come into these games with that on their mind. We cannot be in no close game and allow any refs to determine momentum, to determine the outcome of a game. But 13 penalties per game, dog. I mean, I don't care how many Vegas odds are in, but again, I don't foresee that happening in this game. I think it's a game over. I think we may have another Cooper Rush sighting late in the 4th quarter. I'm
all right with that. That'd be beautiful. Bring another red ball in there to play with us. Yeah, that's cool, man. That means we're up by 35, 40. We should be.
Right.
I don't understand it. There are teams out there who just don't commit penalties, or they have one. I mean, I can you imagine the luxury of being able to say that your team does that?
Well, the Eagles were the least penalized in NFC East. I don't know. I didn't take a look at their scores or their stats here today. I'm primarily focused on the Cowboys. We got to go out there and handle business. We've seen the Eagles handle business. Obviously, Washington and New York tied. They're stinging it up in the basement of the NFC East. I told you the Cowboys and the Eagles, until Jalen Hurts can dethrone his daddy. I doubt that's going to happen on Christmas Eve because I told you, ho, 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 daddy is coming home with a whole lot of gifts. But we got to get through these Colts first, led by Jeff Saturday. How about that? Have you ever seen that before? An NFL player who's been on the network, never coached a day in his life, and all of a sudden got called up to be a head coach?
Yeah, and I think who is it? I think it might have been Baldinger on GMFB who came out with the comparison of Mike McCarthy, who's really bad at time clock management, against Jeff Saturday, who's really bad at time clock and timeouts, which I thought was embarrassing as shit. But those are the kinds of things that are always attached to our name. And I would love for those to fall by the wayside one day. And today should be really one of those things. We coach like crazy and don't have penalties. It'd be beautiful.
Well, I believe last year when we played the Colts, I think they blanked us. We didn't put any points. I think it was 23-0, if I'm not mistaken. So we got some get back. And I know Mike McCarthy better have that get back, on his CD track or whatever he's bumping with his beats out there. They better have this team pumped up coming out in this first quarter at home, especially on this primetime game. We ain't got no time to be on no primetime looking like we not primetime. And speaking of primetime, did you hear the news? Prime's coming out there near you, Bob.
I did.
How does that make you feel? How far is Colorado University or University of Colorado? What do they call the Buffaloes out there? How far is that from where you're at?
I'm close as shit. And not to mention there's dozens of campuses all over the state anyway. So yeah, it's pretty cool. Everybody loves a Cowboy when it benefits you. You know what I mean? They're gonna just forget everything Prime did with the Dallas Cowboys and just say this man is our Colorado coach and hoorah, which is good because he probably got a mint because he did some amazing things with the team he last coached. I think it's beautiful. Good for him. Man, yeah. He deserves money forever because that dude is money.
I mean, he came out and made the announcement. He signed with another team before that game was over. Matter of fact, they just won that SWAC championship. I think they're 12-0, undefeated this season. Shout out to Jackson State. He did a lot of great things over there. He's moving on to Colorado to be the Buffaloes football coach there. And what a lot of fans don't realize, especially, like I don't watch college football, but a lot of folks have got to understand a couple of those stars, I believe Shador and one of the other young guys that play there that's a superstar have already put in for their portal transfer. So you can expect a lot of these young players are going to flock to Colorado University. If you're not aware about the portal transfer when it comes to players in college who can transfer from team to team, and then you got the name, image, and likeness deals. Oh boy, you got to think about especially everything going on down there in Colorado, Bob, where the green is a lot greener.
Mm-hmm.
Don't be surprised if you see Prime Time with some Prime OG or something.
Yeah, exactly. Buffalo OG.
So I just wanted to make sure everybody was aware that Prime has left Jackson State. That was news just broke out there yesterday, but we got those Cowboys and the Colts slated here for a primetime game here today. Like we said, the Giants and other NFC East news, the Giants and the Washington Commanders tied at 20 apiece. If the NFC East couldn't get any more interesting, now we have two teams with a tie. The Philadelphia Eagles beat up on King Henry. I'm about tired of King Henry. He's not the king anymore. I drafted him in fantasy football, and he ain't did shit for me in the last 2 weeks. So I'm about ready to trade him. So if anybody in the BDG league wants to trade me for King Henry, send me your trade. Oh, we can't do that. I'm sorry. The trade deadline passed on November 30th. Hell, I'm the commissioner. I should know that, right? Yeah. Well, anyway.
He got me 5 points today too, right? I think, God dang, man, he's killing me. Well, Jonathan Taylor was my number one draft pick this year on my team. And he's not doing it. And that's good. Tonight's going to be great to know that. But, there's this season for fantasy overall is just insane because of injuries and all kinds of underperforming and overperforming for people you didn't expect. It's definitely an insane year. That's for sure.
Most definitely. So it's pretty simple. I mean, my keys to victory, no different if they're prime or non-prime. They've been the same. We've been pretty consistent. The Dallas Cowboys need to hold the Indianapolis Colts to 100 or below rushing yards. It could be the third time that we can do that in a row, hold a team under 100 rushing yards. They're almost averaging right at 100 rushing yards. I don't see Matt Ryan throwing it up in the air, especially with Diggs and those guys back there. I expect this defense to be licking their chops. Expect Michael Parsons with at least a 1 or 2 piece. We can't forget about this defense. They're going to do their thing. Yep. I mean, this Indianapolis Colts is looking like chopped liver on the skillet getting ready to get cooked.
Yeah, I was watching the Minnesota game last night because I just wanted to feel good. And I noticed a little statistic they had in there that the Dallas Cowboys are 14-0 since 2021 when leading in the first quarter. It's an insane statistic to think about that. And what should make you think, well, we should have won more than 14 games even if we weren't leading by, whatever the case may be at halftime. That's an insane statistic, man. And on top of it, I really, really, truly think that this team can shut these guys out tonight. I really do. I don't believe I just said it, but there's just something about the squad getting off to a fast start like they did against Minnesota, making a fumble happen, making Matt Ryan get scared because Matt Ryan's a crumbler, almost as bad as what's his name over at in the Vikings. So he's not a scrambler anymore. He might have been at one point, but we really do have a chance tonight to corral these guys and shut them down in the first half of the game and solidify. I believe a 16-0 would be since 2021 while leading. So I don't know, man. We got to come out to a fast start. When we do that, we're successful.
Yeah, we've been holding our opponents to 17 points per game. Obviously, the Niners, they just hung 33 points on the Dolphins. They're going to beat the Dolphins, it looks like 33-17.
Damn.
They've been holding teams under 15 points or something like that. So, folks have been talking about this defense, and, the Niners defenses came on, and there's been some comparisons. The numbers continue to drop. So I believe the Dallas Cowboys can return the favor and blank the Indianapolis Colts today with a 0. That's going to help that number go down from 17 to who knows who can do the math on here. If we blank the Colts today, if we're holding opponents to 17 points a game today, coming into this week, and we blank them today, what is that average going to take them down to? Hold that thought. Somebody throw that comment up there as we shift here over to officialamericans.com. Make sure you go over there and check it out. The only website talking about Dallas Cowboy fans 365 days a year. I just published this Instagram Reels article. So if you're a creator type, if you're the creative type on Facebook here, kind of like Bob and myself, Bob the Cannabis Cowboy, me here as the Cowboys Unifier. You've seen both of our content separately and together. If you're not on Instagram, keeping it real, then what are you doing? So make sure you go over there to officialamericans.com and join the mailing list. Check out that new story on Reels there. I'm going to tell you, Bob, I've gained probably over 1,000 new followers on Instagram in the last week and had over 6 million views when it comes to Reels. So if you don't understand how Reels work, just upload video content. You can upload it to Instagram, upload it to Facebook on the Reels section. You're going to get a favorable algorithm, which means the platforms are going to push that content out to other folks to see it, which means you can get more views. And if you're a creator on Facebook, more views is a good thing.
That's a real good thing. Yeah. I'm just a little bit over. I think I'm about 630 right now. I keep going up and up, just staying active and having fun and giving everybody what they want when it comes to content. It ain't easy. People think it is, but that shit ain't easy, man. And BG, you put in work, dude. If I had half the ability to put in the work you put in, man, I think I might be on the way to rich.
Bro, I'll be doing this shit in my sleep, man. Y'all know I go to work for my green badges. So if you're a green badge supporter here, appreciate that. Shout out Bob. Do me a favor, y'all give Bob some love, get some shares on here, help this audience grow as we get ready to close out this show in the next 10 minutes or so. I'd love to hear from some of our green badges. I'll place the link in the comments. If any of the green badges are dressed, got your church clothes on, you pre-gaming, or especially if you're boots on ground out there at the mothership, just tap that link on. We'd love to have you come on the show, give us a boots on ground perspective as we talk the keys to victory here today. So should the Dallas Cowboys win today, the next two games we got, of course, first line of business after today's game is tomorrow. The Dallas Cowboys are meeting with OBJ. Have you heard the itinerary update that recently came out?
I did. And before you go into it, should other people have not heard that, did you also hear that he will not at all work out for any of these teams? I'm sure you probably talked about it because you're on every day. I just found that to be just one really weird little thing that, all right, we understand you're coming off of ACL. We don't want to see you do a 40 5 times. We're not going to ask you to go crazy with your leg, but catch some balls with my quarterback, or you know what I'm saying? Like I think that's just a little weird. That just struck me as weird. Now, it could mean nothing.
Well, we know what it is. The guy's coming off his second injury. He was injured in February. We don't know if he's healthy to play. He probably is not healthy to play. He's trying to secure a 1-year contract deal. He's coming to the Star tomorrow, scheduled to meet with the Dallas Cowboys. They want to, talk over the numbers. And then they're going to the Suns and the Mavericks game in the evening in Dallas. So if you're headed to the Suns Mavericks game, that's where OBJ is going to be. They're rolling out the blue carpet essentially for OBJ as he hits Dallas in the Metroplex here tomorrow.
Yeah, and we've got to worry sometimes whether it's just Jerry keeping interest, keeping eyeballs, as he loves to do on the Star. It's one of the reasons why we are the biggest sports franchise in the entire world. Jerry does know what he's doing, but I'm also kind of inclined to agree with Vondell Jackson over here, saying let's go with James Washington and keep it moving. I understand he's probably got a little time before he's healthy.
Yeah, he just came off IR.
Yeah, we're talking about money here, man, and at a point in our conversation when we were saying we need to save money, we have to cut this Amari Cooper guy or trade him or whatever the case. Why did we even bother doing all that shit if we're just going to turn right back around and sign probably close to what Amari wants, maybe at the very onset, $6 or $7 million. and sign a guy who's been hurt twice. I mean, it's very weird to me.
I'll tell you what it is. Odell Beckham is the biggest star on Instagram in the NFL. I don't know, he got about 17 million followers over there, some ridiculous number, right? He was just in the national news. We've seen the whole him getting escorted off of the airplane. That was about his health. Now, my question is, whatever happened to the media digging into his health, if that were the case? Nobody's been talking about that. And now as we see Shedrick's tapping in, he says, no workout is suspect. You're right. He's trying to get a bag, and we don't even know, can this guy get on his leg?
I don't see Jerry as the kind of dude to be like, let's go ahead and do that. Let's go. We're going to sign you. We're going to bring you in here, buddy. Don't even worry about it. I just don't see that happening.
Well,
it just, I don't know.
Like you said, I agree with you to a certain extent. I think it's a ho bunch of cap, if you ask me, because you got Jerry, you got all of the Dallas Cowboys in the media courting and recruiting Odell Beckham. And if they don't happen to sign Odell Beckham, no matter what kind of condition he's in, I'm just going to have to call foul play, because that is the biggest troll Jerry Jones will have pulled to date, not only for the NFL when it comes for hashtag get clicks or die trying. Hashtag shit for clicks and likes. Like, why are we out here doing all of this courting Odell if y'all not really going to sign him? I'm really curious to see, I don't want to beat a dead horse here, but I'm curious to see what's going to come out of that tomorrow as we shift our focus back here on the Colts. I would love to see the Dallas Cowboys blank the Colts. I think we owe them from last year. I think Jeff Saturday needs some humble pie on primetime television. I mean, just a few weeks ago, he was on that network saying that he thought Tom Brady and the Bucks were going to go to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, that's probably not going to happen. Hola, Maura. Good to see you. I know there's a lot of I gave a lot of reasons as to why we cut him. I gave the fact that he gives up plays, the fact that he had plantar fasciitis, which is incurable and it's always going to be messing with him. But he's doing things over in Cleveland now. Maybe next year he'll drop off like he did from year to year with us. I don't know. Really, what I'm just saying is it seems like it's a bunch of spinning wheels instead of just kind of moving forward. You know what I mean? We made the move to get James Washington. He gets hurt. If we were going to make a move, we would have made a move. DK Metcalf at one point was a possibility, but he's so expensive. Do you know what I mean? Like,
now, and we've got it down quick after that. They didn't have to come out in the media and talk about it or anything like that. But I'll be glad when these ODB sweepstakes is over, whether we sign him or not. If we don't sign him, I'm going to say, ha ha, I told you so. And if we sign him, I'm going to say, ha ha, we got him. We're going to the Super Bowl. So either way, you're going to hear it from me. So make sure and turn on your notifications. But we've got to blank these Colts first here today. And boy, it's going to be a beautiful sight. We can shut them out at home on primetime television because, folks on here talking about acknowledge the Eagles. Well, we already talked about the Eagles beating the Miami Dolphins today. We know that your running back, Jalen Hurts over there, is a suspect quarterback. We'll find out on Christmas Eve who the real daddy of the NFC East is, but we already know who it is going in, and that's Dak. And I don't think, especially, we need to blank this Colts team tonight. We need to get prepared because after the Colts, we got the Texans. Oh, the Texans got done dirty today, in case you didn't see that with Deshaun Watson and that whole spectacle. They had all them, those folks that was in that case with him out there watching. I don't know what that was all about, But then we got the Jags after that. We seen Trevor Lawrence get injured with the Jags today. I mean, hell, even, porn star Jimmy for the Niners got injured and went out today, and some guy named Purdy came in. They ended up winning that game. So, any given Sunday. And then after the Jags, we go into Christmas Eve on that Saturday. We got the Eagles. So perfect game against the Colts to blank them, come out so we can make quick work of the Texans, finish off the Jags, and then go in. I'm telling you, $42 million on Thanksgiving between the Giants and the Cowboys. I think we're going to break $50 million on Christmas Eve should the Dallas Cowboys continue to win and should the Eagles continue to win going into Christmas Eve. Should be the biggest game of the year.
That's big. That's big money, man. Big ratings. We know it. I mean, we saw what happened on Turkey Day, man. That's the truth. Rizzo's in the house.
The most watched NFL event ever, and it was 2 NFC East teams. So if you think about that going into Christmas Eve, bro, I mean, nobody expected Philly to do Tennessee the way that they did Tennessee. Tennessee's defense actually was holding teams under the last 8 games to something like 20 points or something to that effect. And here comes the Philadelphia Eagles, and I believe they hung 33 on them today. So any given Sunday, but today,
what you want, man.
Take care of some guy named Saturday.
Right. And regardless, not trying to fast forward, but what we want is a healthy Cowboys team going up against a healthy Eagles team. This is exactly the kind of shit you want
Oh, yeah,
because it makes it so much better. It makes it so much better after that game is over to be able to talk that shit. We were all healthy, yada, 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 all that good stuff back and forth. But you're right. Tonight's a big game. Also, I just read Gallup seems to be healthy. I don't know if that means he's no longer ill from the illness everybody's got that's going around in the Cowboys locker room right now. But I saw that he's healthy. So at the very least, he's being listed as healthy. Hopefully tonight will be sort of a breakout game for him, which is also, I want everyone to think about Gallup when they think about Odell. Gallup suffered the same injury. It was right around the same area. Obviously, it wasn't his second one. But when you see how long it's taken Gallup to kind of progress and fall back, not only into getting reps, but into his old form, you'll see exactly how long it takes for a player to get back. And then if you add a few years onto his age, like you got to do with Odell, and give him another ACL injury, you'll kind of see why that's a little bit of a weird situation. But the fact that he is healthy tonight, I think is great. And I would love nothing more to see like 2 touchdowns and 125 yards for Michael Gallup tonight. That'd be a freaking gift, man. That guy, he needs to blow up because he's one of our best.
Well, I take that back. You know, as we were talking about penalties early in the segment, I'm looking at this Eagles game because we got Eagles fans crawling up on the live here, still trying to remind us how good they are. Not like we have social media or TV or internet, like we didn't see the updates, anything. It was 35-10. The Eagles beat them, but the Eagles were flagged 12 times for 80 yards.
All right, so that's and you know, but they still won.
No, that's what I'm saying. I was saying earlier this week, I had talked about the NFC East, the Dallas Cowboys, right now, second most penalized team that was coming into this week. The Eagles were the least penalized in the NFC East, but today they did garner 12 penalties. They still managed to put 35 points on the board against the Titans, and they held King Henry to only 30 yards. So, you know, we see David Cottle in here, you know, #1 fan from the Eagles fan representing in here. Keep handling y'all. We want y'all to be at your best, baby. We're going to see when daddy come home in that big bag of Christmas gifts. I'm telling you, we want you to keep that same energy, big dog, after the L on Christmas Eve.
Yeah, we're not riding anybody's jocks ever, man. But we see you guys. We know you guys are good. 10-1 doesn't mean that you guys are bad. That's not how it goes. We give everybody, you know, NFC East is how it is. We give everybody shit in the NFC East, but we're also not riding jocks. So we got a good chance to get some momentum going here. We got a few teams that we're playing in this next stretch that are a little bit suspect, a little bit beat up in different areas. It's a really, really good time to have this kind of schedule lineup happen to us in December. It's a beautiful thing. We need to take full advantage of that shit starting tonight.
I mean, just before we get out of here today, I want all of y'all that are here with us watching, if you watch this after the replay or whatnot, just think back to when Dak Prescott got injured against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in week 1. And think about where we're at right now in the next 3 games as we are 8-3. We're facing the Colts, the Texans, and the Jags. The Dallas Cowboys, if we're going to get over the hump and take this next step, we're going to have to excel in these 3 games. We should win these 3 games. Shouldn't be any close games. They should be finished out in the first half, especially this Colts game here today. Perfect 3-game stretch here to get on the runway to build up some momentum going into Christmas Eve. I'm telling you, 50 mil at a minimum. I'm calling it now. It's going to be at least 50 million viewers on Christmas Eve, man. You got to think about it. I don't know, Cottle, what are the Eagles' next few games they got? They beat Tennessee here today. Let's take a look at their schedule right quick.
Pop it up. Let's see what's going on. They have just – this is the thing. I find both of our teams to be very, very similar and very, very even in all aspects. They got the Giants
next. So got each matchup with the Giants next. Then they got the Bears, then they got us. So, but with the Giants, I mean, it's the NFC East. And if you've seen what happened today, I mean, the Washington Commanders have been playing pretty good football. And for them to tie, I thought Washington was going to win that game.
Yeah.
But quite frankly, it didn't end that way. And so who knows, maybe Washington or maybe New York can play Philly and they can tie too. Get it? Tie too?
They could tie too. Tie as well.
Y'all ain't with me, baby. I hope everybody's tapped in here today, man. We're getting ready to tap out. Make sure you turn on your notifications. We'll be live here for the halftime tap in. We'll be live for the post game show. Y'all know win, lose, or tie. Bob and BG and Eric B. We probably gonna go live, but we should close out this game in the first half. Like I said, I see a Cooper Rush sighting in the second half at some point today. It just would be uncivilized if it didn't happen.
I have got Ezekiel Elliott and Tony Pollard combining for 165 yards today on the ground.
You call it?
I call it.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Call it, you go haul it. I got you, baby. We appreciate everybody tapping in. We went over our keys to victory today, which were, continue to stop the run. We got to hold this rushing attack of the Indianapolis Colts under 100 yards. They're averaging 99.7 yards a game, as you've seen the stats from Stat News there. Secondly, finish it off in the first half. We can't allow the referees to be an opponent. We're the most penalized, second most penalized team in the league. They're going to have to curb that down these next 3 games. So best believe I'll be watching that. By the ways, any shout outs before we get out of here, Bob?
Another thing to point out is we've been playing teams after they have suffered significant losses. So they're coming at us hard. It's happened a few weeks in a row, if I'm being honest. And we need to make sure that this team plays and understands that it's Sunday night. It's big. I feel like we're going to be ready tonight. But any sort of tiny giving the Colts bend, don't break situation, I think any room we give them is going to be bad. So like you said, foot on the throat, slap them in the face a few times, send them on the way home by the end of the first half. And I think all of us will be happier.
I feel you. And not to skirt Aaron. Aaron's tapping in here talking about that picture with Jerry Jones on it. I kind of touched on it. I mean, what? I mean, if we just said, all right, Jerry's guilty, I mean, who's going to do something to Jerry? I mean, first, let's start with the owners. The other 31 NFL owners love Jerry Jones because of how he's advanced the NFL. I don't think nobody in terms of the other owners is worried about what Jerry was pictured in. And that's not to, talk down on that situation or that protest at that particular time, as he talked about being curious there and trying to find out what's going on. But I'm just saying, it's not like nobody going to do nothing. It's not like cancel culture going to get ready to come out there and get Jerry Hill. Our own damn Cowboy fans can't strike our own fan base to begin with. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man, we're talking about a young man who, was just again. I think it was a curiosity situation. On top of that, even if he was in a biased attitude at that time, we all have the ability to learn and understand. And I'd have to say that if he was biased at one point in his life, I don't think he is anymore. He grew up. He got smarter. You know what I'm saying? But that picture is just neither here nor there. I had a big discussion with my wife about it. It's an unfortunate time in our American history, which is, I think, something else we should be focusing on as opposed to who was in the crowd. But it's definitely not something we should be worrying about as Cowboys fans. My
2 cents is on it. I just wish Jerry would have answered it differently. He could have said that was a whole different time. I became a new person since then, and I'm glad that we don't live in those kind of times. Like, he had a real opportunity. Anytime y'all hear Jerry Jones on the mic, all these times he's on the mic just talking a whole lot of nothing. This is the one time he could have really made a serious impact, and been cognizant of the situation. But Jerry gone Jerry. So we know.
Let's not forget, he also, I imagine most of the time, and I know Rich Dalrymple said this a lot, they prep you in these big interviews and tell you the questions that they're going to ask you beforehand, especially these big network ones. I don't think this last one concerning that photo was one of those situations where he was prepped and had answers provided. So I think that's probably one of the reasons why he didn't have something real sweet on deck. He had something that we maybe didn't want to hear, but this is the football team, and we're here for the Cowboys. Jerry is not the Cowboys; he's the owner. Our team's out there playing, so that's what we're going to focus on.
Right. I mean, our quarterback came out, and he's got to be stat quo pro. So we don't know if that's. I believe that's Dak's honest sentiments. However, this is much bigger, and it's causing a conversation, which is good because the conversation needs to be had, because we can't be naive to think that this type of stuff is still not going on, because clearly it is in the league. I mean, Jerry's got his own issues to deal with. He's never hired any kind of black coach in a head coach position or anything like that. So there's tons of ways that Jerry could have tried to fix this situation, but obviously he hasn't. So that's our 2 cents on it. We talked about the keys to victory here today. It's Bob and BG, baby. Make sure you tap in on the halftime show, and make sure you come tap in with us on the post-game show. What you got? What's the score? What score you got as we get out of here today? What's your score prediction, Bob?
Oh, I want to say 40-0.
40-0. Bob has got it. We're going to put it on there. So we're going to say 40-0. He's saying we're going to blank them. I'm saying we're going to blank them 34-0. So I'm right there with you.
Okay, all right.
I think we need to continue this high-octane offense. Is averaging over 30-something points with Dak Prescott, in the last 4 or 5 games. Y'all seen the numbers out there. Again, we cannot allow Indianapolis to look like any kind of football team that Jeff Saturday's coaching. We got to make it look like Jeff Saturday needs to retire or something. Like he needs to quit being a coach. We need to blank them. That's the kind of media talk we need to hear about that today as we get ready to go on this 3-game run between the Colts, the Texans, and then go out to Jacksonville on then. So y'all tune in after the post-game report with Bob and BG, baby. We'll see y'all. Go Cowboys.
Cowboys.